So let me answer the first part. Do we have good reason to believe that when Jesus' physical body was interned in the tomb, Jesus' human soul descended into Sheol, Hades, what he called hell. And this is where it gets confusing. When we talk about hell, most people use hell to refer to the state of the dead who have died in unbelief. In other words, if I'm an unbeliever and I die, I go to hell. Okay? However, here's where it's going to get a little confusing. So I'm going to try to be as simple as I can. Hell comes from the word Gehenna, the Greek word Gehenna. Now, guys, you got to pay attention or I'm going to lose you here. Gehenna refers to that place, quote unquote, I put place in question marks because it's a spiritual dimension, where unbelievers will be sent to be destroyed with their bodies and souls. Go to Matthew 10:28 if you can. Matthew 10:28.
Okay.
And read it for us.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And by the way, in Arabic would be Jahannam, right?
Jahannam, yes.
Yeah. So in the Greek it's Gehenna, where they'll tell you comes from the Hebrew words, Valley of Hinnom. But anyway, read Matthew 10:20. What Gehenna, which is typically translated as hell, refers to.
Fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both body and soul in hell.
So the word hell here is the word Gehenna. That's the place where unbelievers will be sent to be destroyed, both with their bodies and souls, body and soul. When we talk about unbelievers that have died, going to a place of torment, awaiting the day of judgment, the word there in the Greek is Hades, Hades. And in Hebrew, it's Sheol. Hades / Sheol, after Christ, pay attention, after Christ is that dimension where unbelievers are sent in their souls, in their spirits, devoid of their bodies, because they go there when they die. So when they die, physical body returns to the dust, but their souls, their spirits go to Hades, Hades, Sheol. That is different from Gehenna. Okay? That is different from Gehenna. Okay? Gehenna is where your body and soul will be sent to be destroyed. Now, someone's saying, what does destroy mean? Well, you have people saying annihilated. Others say everlasting destruction. I'm simply using this language of scripture. Everlasting destruction. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verses 7 to 10. Specifically verse 9. But we'll get there in a minute. So, there are two words that are translated typically as hell. Hades, Hades, Hebrew Sheol, and Gehenna. They're not the same. Gehenna is the place where unbelievers will be destroyed, both in their bodies with their souls, soul and body. Everyone got that? Hades, Sheol, is that dimension, that place where the souls, the spirits of unbelievers go to be tormented when they physically die. So their bodies don't go there. Their bodies return to the dust. Their souls go there. And then at the day of resurrection, their bodies are raised. Their souls are united. They stand before God in judgment. Then they're sent to Gehenna, hell, both with their bodies and souls intact. Everyone got that? If everyone got that, I have to add a further element. Hades, after Christ's death, resurrection, ascension, Hades, Sheol, is now the place where only unbelievers go to. Prior to Christ, before Christ's death, resurrection, ascension, this place called Hades, Sheol, was the place where all the dead went, righteous and the wicked. But the difference is there was a place in Hades where the righteous would go, but they would be in peace and rest, and they would not experience torment. So imagine Hades has two compartments. One compartment for unbelievers, and there they're tormented. The other compartment in the same dimension for believers, and there they're waiting in peace and rest and bliss until Jesus comes and takes their souls and spirits into God's heavenly abode, where God the Father appears visibly, where the angels are. That only took place after Jesus' death, resurrection, and ascension. Everyone got it? Let me give a moment to see if they got it, so then I can answer the question.
I see a few comments here that seem to indicate that they did catch that. So,
okay. So everyone got it? That's good. So now with that in the background, where did Jesus go when he physically died? Well, his human soul, his human spirit went to Hades, Sheol, what we call hell. Why did he go there? Because the righteous dead were there in a state of bliss and peace, awaiting the Lord to come and lead them out of that place and bring them into the Father's heavenly presence. Now, where do we find that Jesus went to Hades, Sheol? Go to Acts 2, read 29 to 32.
Acts 2.
29, 32.
Okay.
Now, Peter quotes a Psalm of David, Psalm 16, 8 to 11, where David talks about God's Holy One being rescued from Sheol and his body not corrupting. And then Peter says David wasn't talking about himself because David has been dead for 1,000 years and his tomb is with us. So who was David talking about? Read Acts 2, 29, 32.
It says, men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him that the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Christ to sit on his throne. He, seeing this before, spake of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in hell, neither did his flesh see corruption.
So where did his human soul go when he died?
Was not left in hell.
So where did his human soul go?
Hell?
Yeah, but what word is it? It's not Gehenna. It's Hades.
Hades, okay.
So Jesus's soul, not his flesh, went to Hades, Sheol, but his flesh was in the tomb. And so his flesh did not corrupt because his soul came out of Hades and re-entered his body, and he resurrected his body, made his body of flesh immortal. Because 32 says what?
This Jesus hath God raised up, whereof we all are witnesses. Wow.
Now, to further confirm that Jesus went to Hades, Sheol, let me show you something that's going to be mind-blowing.
Okay.
When Jesus confronts the demoniacs, the legion,
yes.
Go to Luke 8:31. Notice what they tell Jesus. Luke 8:31.
Luke 8:31. Okay.
Emily, if you're listening to my answer, I answered your question. I'm answering your question. But you got to listen because I just answered your question. Luke 8:31.
They besought him that he would not command them to go out into the deep.
Now, the word deep is abuso. It's also the bottomless pit, the abyss. The Greek word is abuso, meaning the pit, the bottomless pit, the abyss. Okay? You know why that's important? You have an idea why that's important? Because in Revelation chapter 9, verses 1-11, it says, a star came down from heaven And there was an angel who was given the key to the bottomless pit, the Abuso. And this star, this angel, who's the king of this place, the deep, the Abuso, the abyss, his name is Abaddon Apollyon. Abaddon in Hebrew, Apollyon in Greek. And he opened the shaft to the abyss, and demons came out that had tails like scorpions and sharp teeth and hair like women to torment mankind for 5 months. So these demons didn't want to go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And guess who else is going to be in the abyss? In Revelation chapter 20, verses 1 to 3, it says Satan will be bound in chains in the abyss, in the deep, in the bottomless pit for 1,000 years. It's the same word.
Wow.
Revelation 20, verse 1 to 3. So you see what the abyss is, the deep, the bottomless pit, where the demons are constrained, in prison, and where Satan will be constrained and in prison for 1,000 years, right?
Mm.
Guess
Wow.
where Jesus went? Go to Romans 10, 6 to 7. Romans 10, verses 6 to 7. Guess where Jesus went?
Romans 10.
6 to 7. Read where Jesus went.
But the righteousness which is of faith speaketh on this wise. Say not in your heart, who shall ascend to heaven, that is to bring Christ down from above, or who shall ascend into the deep, that is to bring Christ up from the dead.
Wait,
Is that
Jesus went where?
to the deep?
That's the same word in Luke 8:31 where the demon said, don't send us there.
Wow.
So Jesus descended when he died where? Where did his soul go to?
And I went to Hades, and it also went to the, are these the
Yes.
same place?
Well, it will be in the same realm.
Mm-hmm.
It just may be different compartments, different realms of the same location, right?
Okay.
So Jesus went to the deep. The word is abuso, the bottomless pit, where Satan will be bound and where demons are constrained. That's where Jesus went for 3 days.
Wow.
Now, he didn't go there to be tormented or tortured. He went there to show his victory over the kingdom of darkness and
Okay.
to show unbelievers what they lost by refusing to believe the gospel that was preached to them, and to bring out the souls of the righteous, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and ascend with them into God's heavenly abode.
He led captivity captive.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Thank you.
So to answer
That's
Emily's question, Emily was wondering, when Samuel's spirit spoke to Saul,
that's a
he
good
said,
question.
tomorrow you and your children will be with me. Well, wait, Saul is an unbeliever. How's he going to be with Samuel? Because they all went there. Samuel went there and Saul went there, but Samuel was in a state of peace and rest, and Saul would have been in a place of torment. Just like the rich man and Lazarus.
Yes.
In Luke 16, 19 to 31, the rich man died and he was buried, and he found his soul in Hades. The word is Hades, which the King James says hell. And he was in torment, and he could see afar off Abraham and Lazarus. But Abraham and Lazarus were in a state of peace and rest, so they could see each other because in the same realm, but there was a gulf. They couldn't cross over to each other. Luke 16, 19 to 26.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for that, man. That's awesome.